Hi, I'm Jim Juback, and welcome to this week's Trend of the Week video. This week's Trend of the Week is, where's all that oil cash going to go? Well, it's going to go into the Permian, and it's going to go into acquisitions, but here's the problem. It's a nice one to have. Let's say you're in Exxon Mobil, and oil is only at $80 a barrel instead of $145, but you're putting so much cash in the bank that you don't know what to do with it. So Exxon Mobil in the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter, had $32.7 billion in cash in the bank. And they're spending money as fast as they can. They put 16.3 billion cash flow from operations. So they put $5.8 billion into capital spending, that's exploring for new oil. They put $8.1 billion into dividends and buybacks, but they've still got a tremendous amount of cash. And they really have almost no debt. They're down to 4% debt is percentage of capitalization. So they've really got this problem, which what are you going to do with the money? Well, if you look at the world as it exists and go, okay, I can explore for oil, or I can buy assets that are already producing. Well, exploring for oil means 5, 10, 15 years. Extrapolating out that far in a global warming economy, who knows exactly what's going to happen. So buying assets, especially if the assets are relatively peaky and therefore able to be turned on and off as demand does, which means places like the U.S. oil shale, particularly the Permian Basin, which is the most which is the lowest cost production area in the United States. Here's an Exxon Mobil chart. So you notice we're just plugging along up here. This is a nice chart, but considering that, and it's a very nice chart considering the fact that there are worries about a coming recession, which would hit oil demand. So there have been rumors that Exxon is going to make a big acquisition. One of the companies they've been targeting is Pioneer Natural Resources. Here's a chart of Pioneer. Now you can see this is a lot more volatility here because the question is, Pioneer is probably the biggest operator in the Permian and trades largely on its dividend. They've recently said, well, we've been putting 90% of cash flow into dividends and buybacks. We're going to cut that to 75% because we've got to restock. So the stock has been down lately. But this is one, they're would be a big acquisition, but given the fact that these oil companies, and it's not just Exxon, you've got the same problem that Chevron, and Chevron also has declining production from its Permian assets. So this would be one to buy. I've added this to a number of portfolios. Another one to look at here is Devon Energy. That's DEV. Same story, same reasons to look for acquisitions. And the last one, but I also already own Devon. Last one to look at would be Diamondback, which is FANG. I love because of course rattlesnakes have fangs. You can see this is all over. But if you're looking for an acquisition candidate, these are three, and I'm probably going to add FANG, which I've owned in the past, back into my portfolios because I think we're looking at all the ducks in a row, especially when you're looking at the fact that some of these Permian producers are down really heavily on fears about a recession, so that they become, the nice thing about it going down, if you're a potential acquirer, is that stocks are cheaper. The nice thing about this situation is if you're an investor and looking at, well, where's the floor? The potential acquisition puts a floor under it. The more the stock retreats, the more likely an acquisition gets to be. So these are really good stocks to own in this situation for a market that looks very iffy. So if you like if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you get notification when we do the next one. We're doing about 3 a week, not always on the same day. So if you subscribe and it's free, you get notification of when the next one's going up. So if you want more of my stuff, you can go to my free site. That's jubackpicks.com. It's got 3 portfolios, including the portfolio which will have Devon and Pioneer, and now FANG, Diamondback Energy in it. And that's free. Or you can go to my paid site, that's dewbackam.com, which has got 6 portfolios instead of 3, some ETFs, options, more volatility plays for this market, and you find the links to Dewback Picks and Dewback AM down below. Thanks very much for watching.